Hello bandits. Thanks for joining me once more as I take a late look over the open world strategy shooter from Ubisoft, Ghost Recon Breakpoint. Breakpoint is a bit of an odd one in honesty and feels like Ubisoft are trying to both keep things the same as Wildlands while also trying to make the title different enough to be worth picking up. In some areas this does work really well, allowing a much more personal progression tree is great, and while it's quite grindy in places, I actually like the way you have to look after your soldier with food and water. Ultimately though, the attempt to stick with new content and keep things similar creates a bit of a halfway house and can leave you with an odd sense of deja vu. I'm not really sure it's worked properly here, and while I wouldn't say it was terrible, I'm certainly not loving it quite as much as the first time I picked up Wildlands. Ghost Recon Breakpoint is currently rated by PEGI at 18, by the ESRB at a mature 17+. It does of course contain frequent combat both at range and in quite intense CQC, which you can probably expect, but also includes bad language, online interaction and sexual themes. You're probably going to guess my thoughts on this one correctly, and I'm saying this one is for adults only and not for the younger generation. And with that all stacked up, onto the rundown. Visuals fair. The visuals within Breakpoint seem a little lacking when you get up close and personal. While the visuals are decent enough in regular gameplay with some nice effects here and there, this is especially noticeable in cutscenes, and in honesty, with this generation and from this developer, for me it's not too far off moving down another step to lacking. Audio great. There's some brilliant voice acting in the title for both male and female ghosts, as well as good weather effects and of course the soundtrack. There's not really anything that I found to fault this on during my time in game. Narrative, great. I've actually really enjoyed the story behind Breakpoint. Set on a fictional island this time, I think it's given them much more room to push out some even more imaginative plot points. Replay, great. Again, I can't really fault the title for its replayability. The number of side quests is good, and I love the fact that you can turn off guidance in order to make hunting down targets a little more fun and less box ticking. The character progression is also great, and multiplayer is tied in quite closely to give a much more bonded experience. Overall, the Pixel Bandits mission rating for Ghost Recon Breakpoint is above average. I'm sure you've seen a lot of opinions around the place, and some of them do indeed have valid points, but overall I have had a decent time with Breakpoint, and it's one that I'll be relaunching with a new character as well. The problems for me are quite hard to put a finger on. The control scheme for vehicles feels quite lightweight and a little flimsy. The visuals aren't brilliant in cutscenes, but when in-game and down in the dirt, on single-player, co-op and multiplayer, I do feel a tug to keep going. The biggest issue for me, I think, is trying to launch a title which is both Wildlands and not Wildlands at the same time, and I don't think that's really helped matters. And that's all I've got for you today. Don't forget to join the conversation over on Facebook and Twitter, and let me know your thoughts on this one as well. As ever, more reviews, streams and absolute nonsense coming your way very soon, so don't wander too far.